The perfect send-off for the perfect manager. Well, on the pitch anyway, certainly during the game. Afterwards, I'm not so sure. One of the most pathetic send-offs I've ever seen for anyone, let alone our greatest manager of the modern era. West Ham United 3, Luton Town 1 at London Stadium, a sunny London Stadium, Saturday, 3 o'clock kickoff. A wonderful day had by all. Jonesy, it was wonderful to see you before the game and afterwards. In fact, a few beers were sunk. Thoroughly enjoyable day. I was just left with a little bit of a bitter taste in my mouth about the nature of the David Moyes send-off, the underwhelming nature of it, not the result, of course. That couldn't really have been better. But afterwards, we won't go into that straight away, I assume. But an all-round feel-good game on Saturday, and it's one of those where sort of general sense that we don't really have anything to play for anymore. Particularly with Man City on the last game of the season, there's every chance those might be the last points we pick up this season. But made for a nice little sort of capping off of the season at home anyway, didn't it?
Yeah, I love days like that where the sun's out, it's 3 o'clock on a Saturday, so it's time for a few beers before the game, time for a few beers after as well before we head home. And I woke up on Sunday morning with a bit of a sore head, very, very red arms, having been in the sun for a few hours, and a very red face. It's partly one thing I'm looking forward to next season with no Europe is more Saturday 3 o'clocks. Obviously, the sun's not going to be shining all year round because we're in England, but they're always good days. So yeah, it was a good day had by all. It was good to see you as well, mate.
I know, lovely. Lovely couple of pints for. Thanks to anyone this season who's chipped in and bought us a pint at buymeacoffee.com/wearewestham. You can still do that. A few of those went over the bar on Saturday, which was very nice indeed. Nice little coming together of all of the various friends and family members of mine and James's. Hats off to Luton Steve, who I sat with during the game. Supports Luton, weirdly enough, former guest on this podcast. Who did a terrible job of masking how delighted he was when Luton went ahead. And I would say did an even worse job of masking his sulking as they proceeded to crumble in front of everyone's eyes and all but seal their relegation to the Championship next season. What are your sort of overriding thoughts in, Jonesy? I mean, we can do the Moyes stuff, I suppose. I do want to touch on that fairly heavily. But yeah, I mean, 52 points, probably all we're going to get, with one more than we've lost. 14 games won, drawn 10, probably going to lose 14. A decent 71 goals conceded, which obviously isn't good. 59 scored, which is the best out of everyone outside the top 7. But a kind of like, a season that's had some really, really good bits in it, some pretty pants bits as well. But it did feel like, and I think we're sort of guilty of this. It's easy to sort of use Twitter as a gauge of like fan feeling and that sort of stuff. And given that, our sort of roles, if you like, or, our positions as hosts of the podcast, you sort of feel obliged, even if sometimes you don't particularly want to. I certainly do sort of feel obliged to keep in touch with social media, particularly West Ham social media, see what the fans are thinking, to sort of inform our views a little bit more, so it's not just a one-eyed propaganda machine or whatever. But it felt generally after the game that I would say the majority of the crowd sort of left in pretty good spirits. A 3-1 home win's always good. I thought we were good for it. Quite a lot of people stayed for the lap of honour at the end. I do sort of remember the old days. I find myself doing this a lot now, mate. I don't know if I'm just getting old, but sort of harking back to the days of Upton Park, where if you'd had a pretty good season, there, it would almost be every single seat in the house was still full for the lap of honour. But considering it's London Stadium, there was a decent old amount of people still left at the end, and it felt, contrary to what you might sort of sometimes see or read or whatever on Twitter, that actually everyone left it was closer to being a good mood than it was a bad one. I think it was an overall fairly positive feeling around the stadium at the end.
Yeah, I think there was a lot. There's got to be a good 50,000 still in the ground. I think 45,000 still in the ground for the lap of honour. I think a lot of what happened in the game contributed to it, and also a lot of fans wanted to hang about to say goodbye to Moyes. But when you've got you win relatively comfortably in 3-1, and you get a academy graduate come off the bench and scoring his first goal for the club, I think that just puts everyone in a good mood, doesn't it? So and obviously, as we've already spoken about, the weather would have helped. So yeah, I think it was a decent little lap of honour. It's one of the best ones we've had for a while, I think, given the circumstances.
Yeah, well, of course, the Conference League we'd already won. The season had finished, didn't it? So we didn't do the lap of honour like after that. The year before was obviously brilliant. Given sort of the couple of seasons before what we'd achieved then, I would put that down, Jonesy. Right, and it's days like that, isn't it, where you realise why you go football, like the ingredients. And why we continue to go. The ingredients of it all are fairly simple, aren't they? And like my girlfriend's not a football fan at all, really. Not to doesn't hate it, but just not a football fan at all. And for those people who aren't into football, are sometimes confused at those of us who sort of pledge a significant portion of our lives to our football clubs. Days like that there isn't too many better ways of spending a Saturday, is there? It's like meet in the pub at whatever time I met you, 12:30, a few pints in the sun, have a bit of a laugh, have a chat about the football, watch your team win and score 3 goals at home. Even though it didn't really mean loads, and then you go in the pub afterwards, have a couple more, chat a little bit more rubbish. And you just generally sort of feel a bit lighter, don't you? Because your team's won. And then you go home and it's like nothing particularly special. Probably won't remember that day forever. In 5 years' time, if someone goes, "Oh, do you remember Luton at home?" Probably unlikely we'll be like, "Oh, yeah. I remember that, what a game it was," or whatever. Maybe you will because it's Moyes' last game. But just a great day to spend the day, that was, wasn't it?
Yeah, like I said, they're the best days. They're the best days. The weather is for me the main ingredient. Though I don't think we would have had as much of a memorable or fun day had it not been for the 25, 26 degrees it was. No, all good all round.
Few people commenting on the photo we put up of us before the game in the pub together, sort of commenting that it looked like we'd picked the exact same outfit, and it was like embarrassingly awkward when I turned up and you were dressed the same as me.
Well. We're both wearing black t-shirts. So,
I know mine's dark grey actually, mate. You're all right. You're
enough.
off the hook. That did make me laugh. Right, I tell you what, Jonesy, just a reminder, first of all, everyone, by the way, follow us on social media at @WeAre_West Ham on Twitter if you don't already. We are West Ham Pod on Instagram. I would say we're getting better at populating both of those social media accounts. So do follow us on there. Subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, please. That would be very helpful. We are West Ham Podcasts over there. If you want to buy us a pint, to say thanks for all the podcasts this season, we've had lots of messages. If you fancy buying us a beer to say thanks, you just go to buymeacoffee.com/wearewestham. The pints are a £5 each. They're virtual pints, of course, but fortunately with me and James, we always pledge that any money we get, which comes direct to us, is either spent on real pints, which it was on Saturday, or equipment, be it microphones or whatever, or any licensing fees, guest fees, anything like that, platform hosting fees, to make the show possible and better for you guys. So that's buymeacoffee.com/wearewestham if you fancy buying us an end of season pint. Leave us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts as well. If you can all do one of those each week, that would be very helpful indeed. What else have you been up to, James? Anything interesting occurring? Because I think, in recent times, there's been more pressing West Ham matters to cover, particularly given the impending departure of David Moyes. Will he, won't he go, and who will replace him, etc. We've tended to just launch straight into the podcast most weeks. So have you had anything sort of other mundane topics come up, which our listeners tend to either love or hate in equal measure? There doesn't seem to be much middle ground.
I don't know. It's been pretty. I mean, I'm 3 months into the new job now, so I'm well involved in that, and by all accounts, doing pretty well. But yeah, other than that,
by your accounts, or someone else said that?
Someone else has said that. Yeah.
Oh, right. Fair enough. Yeah.
So yeah, no, that's all good. I don't really know what else. It's been pretty standard life over the last 3 or 4 months. It's just been
existing.
Yeah, just existing, cracking on. Oh, Harrison got into the school that we wanted him to get into, which is good news.
That's great news. Yeah.
But beyond that, it's literally just been wake up, work,
go to sleep,
do the podcast on 1 day a week, and then go to sleep, and wake up, do it all over again. So it's pretty mundane at the moment.
Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. That's what people like. Anyway, I'll tell you what, we'll do the Luton review next, plus a bit more about David Moyes. I thought just for a change, we might actually do an introduction section and then give ourselves a chance to move on separately. So, yeah, look back at Luton, the David Moyes stuff. Where do we sit now? That sort of thing. And then we'll have an opposition view. I know I keep promising those. I'm very sorry. We will actually have an opposition view. Johnny Morris from Typical City, huge Man City YouTube account. I've already locked it in, chatting to him this week. You will have that before the final game of the season. Me and James will have a look ahead to that Man City game, of course, and our usual sort of general musings on how we feel as another season comes to an end. All of that coming up next. Right, James, on my third attempt to introduce this section, I'm going to start with a message that I got in the aftermath of Saturday's game. Will, I'm so sad, genuinely. The club got it so wrong. I'm so angry. Why do the awards before the walkout and bore everyone over save of the season? Why let Luton have 20 minutes when they have their own send-off final game? Moyes deserved everyone in their seat with a big serenade. I'm absolutely devastated at the lack of appreciation he was shown. As we said post Freiburg, football has gone. Honestly, I mean, if I'm honest, James, right? I was really, that's sort of why I was going. It was brilliant to see us win the game. And I was just assuming there would be this sort of outpouring of emotion. And I just felt, honestly, and I know we were just saying it's a great day and all that sort of thing. I just felt really, really disappointed. And there isn't, before I, go sort of two-footed on the club or anything, there is an element, of course, that David Moyes came out in the build-up to the game, said he's quite shy. I don't think he was overly keen on doing a speech or anything like that, which, to be fair, I would have liked that. And I think it would have been nice to hear from him one last time. And I think lots of people feel the same way. But, okay, if you're not going to do that, fine. At least, I mean, the comment there about the save of the season thing, it was all a bit of a nose up at the end. I think, I don't suppose the club will have been too proud of how that all went down. And in the order, it seemed like lots and lots of time. All the early awards were just rushed through. Then we sat and watched loads of save of the season. There was an ironic cheer went up when it was Fabianski. And then not too much was made of Jared Bowen winning Hammer of the Year either. But then the worst thing about all of it was, at least, like, when the players are doing the lap of honour, which has weirdly become this, like, just excuse to turn the pitch turns into a creche when there's just like 500 kids running around rather than like a chance to clap the players. I don't know why I need to give a round of applause to Angela Bonner's wife, but that's what I found myself doing after the game. But at least, right, if David Moyes is going to do a speech, just say the players are on their way out now and they'll be led round the pitch by David Moyes, who, as we all know, this is his last home game as West Ham manager. Please show him your appreciation and have him lead the players round. What we actually got was some sort of half-baked lap of honour, and David Moyes just sort of mingling at the back. If you went on the club's social media accounts, you'd see that they got a couple of opportune snaps, got at very favourable angles, which made it look like he was sort of on his own and clapping to the entire stadium. In reality, far too little was made of it, if you ask me. And like I say, I will just caveat again. I appreciate that some of that may have been David Moyes, but I'm sorry, it's just like whatever your view on him, like what we've achieved, what he's achieved, and what we've achieved under him, he deserves so much more than that. And I just think, and not even so much for him. I understand if he's a bit shy, but like there are a significant amount of fans in that stadium who wanted to show their over appreciation for him as well. And like we've seen it at Leon away, he's not that averse to taking a bit of appreciation from the crowd. It's not like he's this shy, retiring wallflower who never likes clapping the fans or receiving any adoration. I understand he doesn't get too high or too low, but I just thought it was really badly done. And especially as I was looking for, that was sort of the main reason for going to the game, because I wanted to show my appreciation. I didn't really feel like, you know, it was sort of facilitated so that those who wanted to were really able to in the fashion he deserved.
I don't feel as strongly about it as you do, mate. Yes, I was surprised that more wasn't made of it. I found myself trying to pick Moyes out the crowd on the pitch at one point as he neared my corner. I was like, where is he? Found him and kind of stood there and held back the tears as I clapped him. And like, but yeah, yes, they probably they could have done it a little bit differently. They could have given him a little bit more. But yeah, like he still got a hell of a lot of appreciation. There wasn't a single, every single person in that stadium was clapping him, and you could tell like as he went round, like it got louder as people saw where he was, and you know there was everyone was there, sort of showing their appreciation for him. So, but I don't feel that strongly about it. It could have been done better, but they did it the way they did it. I haven't, in response to the message you read out right at the beginning, I haven't got a problem with what Luton hanging about for a little bit longer. They wanted to show appreciation to their fans.
Yeah.
And see, you could see how emotional it was for those guys, obviously, because they knew essentially they were down. See Rob Edwards crying on the pitch and stuff, and there's a little bit, fair, and fair play to the fans as well. Clapped them off when they walked off. Gave them a lot of respect. The awards, I mean, I barely even knew they were going on, if I'm honest. Like it was a little bit like you could have done more with that. I did laugh the following morning when I woke up to see Ariola's wife or Mrs. having a bit of a pop about him not winning Hammer of the Year on her Instagram.
Really?
Yeah. And she said, it was something along the lines of, Save of the Season's fine, but it should have been Player of the Year, but we all know why. And people were like, "What do you mean?" Like, and she, in the comments of a picture of him or something, she said, because a lot of people were. I mean, it's a little bit of a dodgy subject, but a lot of people were going, "Oh, what are you insinuating? There's racism involved." And she was like, "Oh no," because it did. When you first read it, you did think, "Oh, hang on, what's she alluding to it?" Turns out that she said in the comment, "Oh no, it's because he's a goalkeeper. Goalkeepers don't win them." And I really wanted to reply and go, "Yeah, but we've had like 4 goalkeepers win Hammer of the Year in our history."
Yeah. So to be fair, that's probably when we've had crap seasons.
Yeah, maybe, but I think pretty sure Fabianski's won it. Phil Parkes has probably won it.
Yeah.
McCloskey may have won it all
Ludo.
those years ago.
Yeah.
So like, Robert Green definitely won one.
Rob Green, you'd have thought would have, wouldn't you?
Yeah. So it's like it's not like we're like really prejudiced towards keepers or anything, but it was a bit of a weird
No.
one. But
Yeah.
to be fair, I didn't even notice that it was all going on. But yeah, I don't feel
No.
that strongly about the whole Moyes thing. Like he got a send off. The fans showed him a lot of appreciation. I think the fact that it was so full with a good 50,000 fans still in there showed that they wanted to hang about and show him appreciation. They weren't hanging about just to cut the players because we'd finished ninth in the league. They wanted to hang about for David Moyes.
Yeah.
And he got that. He walks around. I watched him walk around, and he did kind of break away a couple of times from the group and go a little bit nearer to the crowd and come off the pitch a little bit.
The same though, was it?
But that's him. Like that was his choice to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I just felt
I
it was
haven't
a
got a
little
problem
bit
with
of
it.
like fear of like any backlash or whatever. But anyway, right, I tell you what, Fabianski won it. Rob Green before him won it. Lucas Fabianski won it in 2018-19. Robert Green before that in 2008. I think. Oh no, yeah, that was a year after Tevez, wasn't it? Yeah. Who do you think the goalkeeper before that was? The last goalkeeper to win it.
I'm gonna say,
Give you
maybe
a
Shaka
pound if you
Hislop.
get it. Oh, flipping excellent guess. Have you just guessed it? Googled it.
No, I haven't googled
Oh
it.
yeah, well, correct answer. Yeah, it was Shaka Hislop. Before that, Big Ludo, as you mentioned there. Phil Parks again, 1981. Who else we got? Blimey, lots of Billy Bonzes and Trevor Brookins. And then we're into the Bobby Moore era. I'm still going back, Jonesy. Laurie Leslie in 1962. Before that,
There we go.
where are we here? Yeah, there you go. And that was he was the first and longest away. The Hammer of the Year only come in the early 60s. So, yeah, fair enough. Well, all right. Well, I don't want to keep labouring the point. Yeah, you don't agree. I was just a bit sad, but yeah, happy times. Just quickly then, Jonesy, one thing I think will go under the radar is what an absolute rocket of a goal Thomas Souček's was, like a proper peach, like left foot volley from outside the area, rifled into the bottom right corner. And it will definitely get overshadowed by George Earthy's and the fact that it was Moyes' last game. Like that goal will unfairly get forgotten about, but like, it was an absolute screamer.
I don't remember it being that good until I watched it back the next day, and I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
actually, that was a fantastic finish." Didn't know he had it in him, bless him. But yeah, that was a good goal. It will be forgotten about though. He scored better though. They won at Everton earlier this season, I think.
Yeah, what a peach. Yeah, that was one of the goal of the season contenders, I think, wasn't it? What do you make of the game then? Obviously, a bit of a sluggish start. But you did just feel that there was a significant gulf, wasn't there? And that Luton really didn't have it in them. Like at times, I was almost like, "Oh, come on, lads! Like at least make it a bit more difficult. Like stop passing us the ball directly." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was. Even at 1-0 down, it was one of those games where even though you're losing, you kind of know you're going to end up winning.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Just felt like it's only a matter of time. Even at half time, we were talking just not even worried that we're going to lose this game. It's just we will score at least 2 goals in the second half, and it's going to be absolutely fine because Luton, other than their goal, haven't threatened us. Like they barely got into our box. So, and that's exactly what happened in the second half. Just a very comfortable 90 minutes of football, I think. And I think it did change a lot when Barkley came off in the first half.
Yeah.
They
Steve, who I was sat with, was just like, "This is bad."
They lost a lot in midfield after that, and I think that was pretty much they were almost hanging their hat on Barkley pulling the strings in midfield. And the moment he goes off in the first half, they've lost everything, haven't they? Really. So yeah, it's a shame for them, but yeah, very very comfortable. Probably the most comfortable 3 points we've had all season, to be fair.
Yeah, absolutely. But it all kicked off in the away end at one point. I didn't really see what the fallout from that was or what happened. Did you also happen to see? I don't know if anyone listening did. Walking out the ground and over the bridge, like the police arresting like loads of teenagers.
No, didn't see that.
Oh, yeah, it's just like all properly kicking off. Yeah, just wondered if you saw it. I don't really know what the outcome of it was or what happened in the end, but yeah, police swarming everywhere. It looked like it might have been some sort of altercation with home fans, but or also sort of scrapping between themselves. I don't know, but yeah, I thought you might have seen that. It was all quite chaotic. George Earthy then, Jonesy got the goal at the end. What a nice story, particularly after his home Premier League debut a few weeks ago when he was cruelly KO'd by his own teammate in Edson Alvarez. Yeah, it sort of looked pretty bad. Everyone was pretty worried. What a perfect sort of fairy tale way to come back from that. You see how much it meant to him. Everyone in the ground pretty delighted. All the players pleased for him too. Lovely moment.
Unbelievable moment. You could see the moment the ball at the back of the net and him sprinting off into the corner. Like you could tell he had the emotion there, and he's like, it's just lived our dreams there, isn't he? I mean, I've scored a stadium in a West Ham kit, so I've already lived that dream. But in front of an empty stadium, I will add. But yeah, he lived all our dreams, and he's scoring in the Premier League for West Ham. And we just love that. Like we love academy players, don't we?
Yeah.
And to have one come off the bench and score, if we don't see him ever again, we'll always go, it's like we always remember Freddie Sears' goal against Blackburn when he came off the bench at the age of 16 or whatever it was.
Well, yeah.
Although Freddie Sears did go, and he had a half a West Ham career, didn't he? Kind of hung about for a couple of years, scored a few goals, but
and did end up weirdly. I think it was like Colchester. Didn't he just play for Colchester then for years after that?
Yeah, he just banged in like 100 goals for them. Yeah, it's like that was his level. But yeah, we always remember that goal against Blackburn. Hopefully, Earthy goes on and does a little bit more. He's shown a lot of promise. Like I said after that Fulham game that he was injured in, that the 3 minutes,
after the 4 touches you saw, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, no, he looks pretty good. Like, obviously, it's difficult to judge him off the base of 4 minutes or whatever it was, but when he was involved in possession, like he did look pretty composed, it looked pretty good. And I thought the movement for his goal against Luton showed a lot of maturity for that movement into the near post. So yeah, like really pleased for him. Hopefully, the new manager likes him and gives him a bit of a chance. Probably going to go out on loan, but he would have done himself a lot of favours with that performance and goal.
No, quite. I mean, one of the people I was watching with, as soon as it went in, did go, just another Freddie Sears. And I was like, I'm flipping hell.
Give him a chance.
There is always that, I suppose. I know it's hard to sort of gauge, really. Do you think? Do you think he's got what it takes? It's difficult, isn't it? Because Mobama scored a few goals in pre-season, and he's a different sort of player to that. He does look very, very little, doesn't he? Like for a man of that frame, he needs to be like David Silva quality, like on the ball. That's if you are a Premier League player of that size, that's the sort of player you've got to be, isn't it? Because Manuel Lanzini was very slight, wasn't he? Like the only players we see with builds like Earthy's play as a number 10 and that's it, don't they? Or like,
yes, I mean,
even N'Golo Kante was a bit more robust, but
he's got a very similar build to Cole Palmer, to be fair.
A bit shorter, isn't he?
A bit shorter, but similar build. Got quite lanky. So I don't know. It is too early to go. Yeah, this kid's going to make it. I think after 2 cameos off the bench, but I don't know. Like you just got to give his players time. Got to give them minutes. Maybe a loan spell into the Championship.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he probably needs a little bit of time in the gym. But the fact is, he's been given opportunities.
And on one of them stretching machines.
Yeah, been given opportunities, and we like those players you just mentioned. It doesn't. The height really doesn't matter in football. Like it doesn't.
No, quite.
So yeah, look, I think.
I must admit,
his head down. I think like we're hearing now that Lopetegui likes to give youth players a chance if it's and he's been told that youth need. Apparently, he's been told that youth need to be bedded in more. So maybe we do see a lot more of him. And if the movement for the goal is anything to go by, he's got a lot of intelligence behind him already. If you can back that up with a little bit of footballing ability, then happy days, we've got a player.
Yeah, no, quite agree. I've just got a bit caught up then. I don't think you can be a height George Earthy is and ever be called lanky. Like, I was thinking, should I just let that go? But I can't
not so
forget.
much.
I can't get
Lanky
rid of
was
it.
probably the wrong term.
Yeah.
Skinny.
Good.
Skinny.
Yeah.
Is probably the word.
Slight.
Yeah. Because Cole Palmer's a little bit taller, but he's very skinny, isn't he?
Yeah. True story. Yeah. I mean, if he's after player Cole Palmer, that would be very handy indeed. Anything else then, Jonesy, to add on the Luton game and sort of where it leaves us? It looks, I don't know about you, but it looks like ninth is sort of, Brighton will need to do a fair old bit to catch us at the moment. We're sat in ninth at the moment on 52 points. Played a game more than Brighton. And so they'd have to win and draw their last two, and they can't buy a win at the moment, can they? I mean, they did beat Villa, didn't they? And then but they've got Chelsea and Manchester United, so it seems unlikely that they're going to be able to catch us. So ninth in the bag, pretty much.
I think it'll be ninth, yeah. And if it is ninth, we'll have finished ninth more than any other team in Premier League history. It'll be the fourth time we finished ninth more than anyone else.
Really?
And it means we'd have had ninth and 10th boxed off. We finished in 10th 4 times as well, more than anyone else in Premier League history. So we are the epitome of a bottom of the top half Premier League football club.
Yeah, upper mid-table.
Yeah, and I like that.
Yeah.
It's quite
I tell you what, I like that stat. I like that stat, Jonesy. Yeah, you just wheeled that one off. Sort of harks me back to the time I thought we should do a stats corner every week. And I think the realization of quite how much work that required dawned on us. And
I collect my West Ham stats. So I'll look to come prepared with. Yeah, I come prepared with more throughout the summer and next season. I'll make sure that I'm well armed with them because I really like that.
Lovely.
I was doing research on finishes, Premier League finishes for all the clubs in the Premier League. Interestingly, Everton. Right, we're going to stay on this subject, so I like it.
Yeah, mate, I'm here for it.
Everton. Actually, I'm going to bring this up because I don't want to get it wrong. It won't take me long.
No, I do think this is the sort of thing that's that is, it's what people want. I was genuinely impressed with the swiftness with which you reeled off the West Ham finished 9th and 10th more than anyone. 10th, I'm surprised with. 9th, I don't know. I feel like, but I mean, like you say, it sort of does prove it. You'd think someone else would have finished in that position a bit more regularly.
Yeah, so
that screams like an Aston Villa.
So currently we're joint with 3 other teams for 9th with Leicester, Man City, and Stoke.
Really?
All on 3. So obviously we'll go ahead with
but we'll go top 4. If we secure it.
Yeah,
right,
we're clear with 4 on 10th. But
ahead of who?
There's a few clubs. Let's have a look. So there's a few clubs with 3. Blackburn and Tottenham. Interestingly,
really, in the old days, 90s.
But Everton finished 7th more times than anyone else in Premier League history.
Yeah. That's under Moyes, I'd have thought.
But also 17th more times than anyone else in Premier League history, 4 times. So they've literally they've dominated both ends of the table. It's great. It's brilliant.
I like that, James. One thing I just want to say, I saw someone in the ground on the weekend with the gold pony shirt from the late 90s, I want to say. It would have been the late 90s with number 10 Futre on the back. Yes. And I literally had to tap her on the shoulder and say, I love your shirt. That's wicked. I've just been reminded of that randomly.
Brilliant.
Excuse me, proper enjoyable day. Anything else then, James? I don't know if I've already asked you this. Anything else on the Luton game before we move on?
No, I don't think so. the only other thing that is sticking out to me is that Kudus missed the sitter, absolute sitter. And Bowen missed a pretty good chance as well, which would have capped it off
Yeah.
last 5-1. But yeah, like
Bowen hit the post as well, didn't he?
As comfortable as they come. Nice.
Yeah. Kudus was very industrious, actually. I thought, like you say, a little bit sort of wasteful or whatever, but he was heavily involved in a couple of the goals as well. Yeah, finishing the season strongly. Yeah, no, overall, just sort of left with a fairly good feeling about the season. Decent old amount of points there, and just a bit of a shame about the Moyes departure. But I'm sure I'll get over it. I'm sure David Moyes will as well. And I've just seen I saw the other day he's working for Talk Sport over the Euros. So fingers crossed, I'll catch him in the building at work and try and hold myself back from telling him I love him. Anyway, stay with us a little bit more, some more musings and a look ahead to the Man City game from me and Jonesy next. Well then, James, Manchester City away, last game of the season. We haven't got a particularly good record against Manchester City, it's fair to say. Not many teams have. We are recording this the night before Man City go to Tottenham in the Premier League, with the title race well in the balance, of course. City on 85 points with 2 games to play. And a worse goal difference than Arsenal, but only by 3. Arsenal played one more, just a point ahead of them. Arsenal, their final game of the season is Everton at home, a game which isn't sort of guaranteed that they will win. Manchester City, Tottenham away tomorrow night as we're recording, which is Tuesday night if you're listening. And then West Ham at home on Sunday. The David Moyes almost couldn't contain his laughter when it was put to him in his press conference. The West Ham would beat Man City and hand Arsenal the title. I mean, I know there's professionalism and stuff, but if ever there was an on the beach game, if you're a player, you must be thinking, of all the games to end the season with, and you've got to go to the Etihad. I just can't see them anything. I can't see anything happening. I think the only way Arsenal win the title is perversely if Tottenham beat them, because I just cannot see, like a couple of Spurs fans who are worried about Arsenal winning the league at work today said, Pewey, there's no chance, surely, is there, that you do anything? And I just laughed. I was like literally zero chance. Yeah, what are your thoughts?
If City beat Tottenham on Tuesday night, title's wrapped up for them. Title's done.
It's done, isn't it?
It's done. I did wonder. I was thinking about this yesterday.
It might be wrapped up, even if they only draw with Tottenham, because they will do us 6-0, won't they?
Oh, happily, yeah. I was thinking about this yesterday. I was watching the Arsenal United game with father-in-law and brother-in-law. Brother-in-law's a United fan. Father-in-law's an Arsenal fan. Both
Gooners? Oh, right, yeah.
So watching it with them, and see, father-in-law was like, well, any chance you can do anything against City? And I was like, no, but I don't.
And I don't want to either.
Well, I was like, I did say that, and I was like, and also I don't really want us to win against Manchester City, if I'm honest. But I did wonder, there's a lot of players in that squad that will still be very, very close to Declan Rice, and they may want to put on a bit of a performance to try and get Rice the title. We don't want them to do that. We don't want Rice to win the title. But he's got mates still at the club who he'll definitely be on the phone to him going, guys, I need one big performance from you. I need that title. I didn't leave for nothing. So yeah, I just.
But if they don't win it, he literally did leave for nothing, for no trophies, for less trophies than he won in his last year.
Mr. Declan, I want to win it all, Rice. So yeah, that's the main reason why I don't want Arsenal to win the title. but I just see absolutely no way. We know how ruthless Manchester City are at any point of the season, let alone when it's the last 10 games of a season and they just need to win every single game in order to get over the line. They will go and win every game in order to get over the line. They've done it so many times. They just hit a completely different level at this stage. I feel they made it difficult for them a couple of years ago, didn't they, on the last day where I think they were 2-0 up and they'd scored 3 goals in the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, Gundogan, that was, wasn't it? Got to win.
Yeah, and they had to do that. But I don't know. I don't see us getting anywhere close to what Villa did by just even putting some kind of possibility on the result. Yeah.
Thing is, right? So Villa play tonight, don't they? Yeah. Now this
Liverpool,
is as we're talking, and I don't want to talk about this too much because I know some people listen to it later in the week, so this may date it. But they got Liverpool tonight. If Villa don't get anything, that's the thing. Technically, if they don't get anything, then Tottenham technically could still make fourth if Villa don't get anything from Liverpool tonight. I went out with a Tottenham friend of mine after the game on Saturday, and he was like, I'm desperate for Aston Villa to beat Liverpool so we can't catch them because I don't want Tottenham to win against Man City.
Yeah.
He was like, to be honest,
because it's currently out of their hands, isn't it? It's out of their hands. Yeah.
Yeah. But if Villa lose to Liverpool, then Tottenham still need a favour. But Villa have got Palace last game of the season, who are in mentally good form.
Yeah.
So yeah, if Villa get anything, Tottenham, but if Villa win or draw, I think it's over for Spurs and they can't get fourth. And my Tottenham mates, all of them colleagues at work, are like, I just want Villa to win, so there's not a single part of me that wants to beat Man City. Now, I think most normal Tottenham fans, obviously Ange Postecoglou has got to go through the motions, and I think for the Tottenham players, they're professionals, they're paid to win football games. Most of the players won't share the fans' hatred of Arsenal and will care neither here nor there. They care more about their own stats and, all those sort of things. But I feel like I know the answer to this, James, anyway, and I often think it's completely ridiculous to hear people even talking about it, pundits or whatever, as if it's a 50-50 thing. And we may have covered this either last week on the pod or in the pub on Saturday. So I apologise if it was the podcast one from last week. But if it was West Ham, right, and it was we get in the Europa League, but Tottenham win the Premier League, what would you do? Like, what would you want? Because my Tottenham mates are adamant. I think because they've been in the Champions League a few times before, got to the final as well, obviously. They are adamant. They're like, no, I will take the Europa League. It's fine. I do not want Arsenal to win the league. And a few people will sneer at that, going, it's a bit childish. Like, you want your own club to do well. But so I sort of get it. Because if it was the other way, if it was West Ham in the Champions League and Tottenham win the league, obviously it's a no-brainer you pick West Ham in the Champions League, because we've never been there before, and it'll be one of the greatest achievements in our club's sort of modern history, certainly. What would you do, though, if it was West Ham on the verge of getting in Europa League, if they need to get a win that helps hand Tottenham the title, and if we lose, we're in the Conference League and Tottenham don't win the league?
Well, I think along the lines of I saw a Tottenham fan say on Twitter the other day, on that, very similar to what you just said, in that we've been in the Champions League before, and we'll probably qualify again at some point, and no one will remember in a few years' time that Tottenham finished fifth and got beat by Man City. But if Arsenal win the league, we will never ever hear the end of it.
Yeah,
ever. We're still hearing about them, how they did the Invincibles all those years ago. We will never hear the end of it. And if the roles reversed and it was Tottenham, even worse for me, we will never hear the end of it. So I'd be quite happy to sacrifice a place in the Europa League. I'm assuming that means that we end up in the Conference League instead.
Yeah, we're in the Conference League. Yeah,
take
that's
it.
what Tottenham are in, isn't it? Tottenham are guaranteed Europa League.
Yeah, we can win that. We've done it before.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I wouldn't want Tottenham to win the league, and if it's them not getting Europa League, fair enough, take it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I assumed you would say that. But like the idea at the moment, and this sort of Arsenal fans sort of suggested it, innit? Like completely underestimating the fact that like how much Tottenham fans hate them and how little like fans of pretty much all London clubs do not want Arsenal to win the league. Like fans of lots of other clubs, sort of up and down the country, I think are a similar sway to that as well. Like I don't know anyone who aren't Gooners who wants Arsenal to win the league.
My father-in-law, I explained this to him the other day, yesterday, and he cannot grasp it. He's like, "What? You don't want another London club to win the Premier League?" It's like, "No, absolutely not."
No,
And he's
no.
like, "Well, if West Ham are out there, I want West Ham to win." I was like, "Fine, but I
Fair
don't.
enough. Yeah,
I don't want
our
that."
fans aren't as insufferable as yours.
And he was like, "But why? Like, surely you'd want London clubs to do well." And I was just like, no, because all my mates support other London clubs, and they're unbearable. Unbearable. I don't want that to
Yeah,
happen.
totally.
So yeah,
Yeah.
like just no. Like, and the two worst are I wouldn't even be that bothered if Chelsea won. The two worst are Tottenham and
No.
Arsenal. The two worst are those two clubs. Don't want anything to do with them. I don't want them to have any success ever. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I thought it was funny. But yeah, you know what I can see on the last day, right? I can see us going 1-0 up and
Yeah.
like making it annoying, like playing really well for like an hour, and you're like, what are you doing? Like, it doesn't matter to us. Like, it doesn't actually matter.
Do
if
you
we
know what
win
I'd
this
like?
game or not.
Do you know what I'd like? Us to go 1-0 up early, just to give Arsenal a little bit of false hope, and then we end up getting battered like 6-1. Just going, oh yeah,
Yeah.
thought you had it there, Arsenal, didn't you? Nope.
Jokes.
Lol.
Yeah. Fair enough. I mean, it would be pretty funny as well, but I don't think I'd like to sort of go through the heartache of it if Tottenham beat City and then Everton win 1-0 at Arsenal. But mate, the thing I really want, the thing I want it to be, I'm not sure if this is mathematically possible. I want Arsenal to miss out by a point. So it's losing to West Ham at home at the Emirates that does it for them. But that is what I want. So many Arsenal fans are absolutely unbearable after the 6-0, ignoring the fact we'd already beaten them twice this season. Yeah, I want it to be that result at the Emirates where you go, oh yeah, you won 6-0. Like, never mind. Would you have swapped that for a 1-0 and then beaten us 1-0 at home? Yeah, you would.
I think if they both win all their games between now and the end of the season, the gap will be 2 points, won't it?
Yeah, because City can get 6 more points, whereas Arsenal can only get 3. So City would go to 91 and Arsenal will be on 89.
Yeah.
But technically, so Man City could finish. No, it's actually impossible for Man City to win it by 1 point, which is a bit of a shame. Yeah. But they could still do them on goal difference, which would be funny. That would actually be funny if Arsenal win on the last day and Man City do a 7-0 to beat them on goal difference.
Yeah. Even if it's 2 points, though, you could still point that result because if they'd have beaten us, they'd have had 3 points and won it by a point.
Yeah. I want it to be the fact that they lost rather than drew. Like that, even a draw at home to West Ham would have done it for you, but you couldn't even do that. That's what I want it to be. A bit childish, petty, really. I'm in my 30s. I should be sort of above all this sort of stuff now. But what are you going to do? Yeah, you never know, though, do you? I mean, that's just sort of the easy throwaway football cliche to say you never know at a sentence when in reality you do know. But I mean, we could technically still finish 8th if we. Yeah, I mean, that's not doing anything for us, is it? Who have Manchester United got? Newcastle at home, Brighton away. I mean, Brighton are pretty pants, aren't they? But yeah, no.
So Man United, though, to be fair.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Woeful.
More than happy not to see Arsenal in the league for Sure. James, we'll speak to Johnny from Typical City later this week as a separate podcast. Let's just wrap up, I think, with a bit of an update on the Betway charity bets.
Yeah, not had any winners since the last time we spoke about it. So,
No.
in terms of winnings, I'm still on 100 quid for DT 38, Dillington Leaders Foundation. You're on 735 quid for the Bobby Moore Fund. Which once Betway have matched those two totals, it takes our running total for the season at 1,670 quid with one game to play. Neither of us with any winners against Luton. Although I was close. I had West Ham to win over 3.5 goals and Bowen any time. With Bowen hitting the woodwork, could have come in. Then you had West Ham to win, Bowen hat-trick, more than 5.5 corners, which I don't even think that one came in either. I can't remember how many corners there were, but I don't recall there being many.
There must have been more than flipping 6 or more, surely.
I don't know. But
we scored from one of them, didn't we? But yeah.
You weren't close given you had Bowen down to score a hat-trick and score one.
I thought I'd get, you know what's annoying? You know what really is annoying is that quite a few times this year I've gone with Souček to score because it gives you a little bit of value with the odds. Souček to score and West Ham to win. I've done that a few times this year, and I was sort of half thinking about that, but I thought I'll go a bit bolder with the Bowen hat-trick. But for the Man City game, James, I think sort of to say sorry to Thomas Souček, I'm going to go Thomas Souček to score. I sort of want to say Man City to win from behind, but that's also a bet that could be literally dashed within 3 minutes when Haaland puts City 1-0 up, isn't it? So, I'm going to go Thomas Souček to score, both teams to score, and oh God, I need a third element really. I don't want to go dull with corners. What do we reckon? I mean, help me out here, James. I don't. Corners is a bit dull, isn't it?
I mean, I'm swaying
What
towards
about
just anything related to City. I'm not even thinking about us, to be fair. I'm just thinking, what good odds could I get from a City thrashing?
I'll tell you what we'll do, right?
Even a 6-0 correct score is going to be probably evens, isn't it? So
yeah. Okay, here's what I'm going to do then. Right, I'm going to go a goal in each half. Thomas Souček to score, Josko Gvardiol to score because he can't stop banging in. He's got something like 7 in 5 or something ridiculous. Josko Gvardiol to score, Thomas Souček to score, and a goal in each half. What are you fancying?
I'm going to go Man City to win, correct score. I'm going to go Man City to win 4-0.
Right.
Haaland to score 2 or more goals.
Yeah.
And Foden goal or assist.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, nice one. That will be our last Betway charity bet of the season. Just want to say a big thanks to Betway, Chad Yeomans in particular. We've been working with Betway. This is sort of the 4th season or 4th year now. We had a season off last year, but this is the 3rd year in 4 that they've been our charity partner on the We Are West Ham podcast. I know we sort of joke about it, but it is disappointing this year to have, it's brilliant the partnership we've got, and it's wonderful to raise any money at all for those 2 brilliant West Ham charities. I've been playing for the Bobby Moore Fund, James playing for the DT38 Foundation. The previous 2 seasons where we played this game, we raised more than £20,000. So the fact we're only at about what do you reckon, James? About 1,600 quid, did you say, for this season?
Yeah, it's just under 1,700 quid.
1,700 quid. So that is winnings of mine and James's bets, and then Betway match it at the end of the season. So we've had a season of pretty poor bets, really. Unfortunately, it's been a bit of a peculiar season. Nothing's been overly predictable, and I think in a bid to sort of try and get some decent money, as we have done in seasons gone past, we've opted for I suppose some more rogue things to happen, and just sort of been a bit unfortunate to miss them most weeks, and even a couple of mine, to be fair, have only been paid out thanks to sort of Betway agreeing to do it. Have only been paid out when like one of my 3 legs, like the player hasn't started or something. The other 2 have come in. So, yeah, but Betway have been very generous. So big thanks to those guys for partnering up with us again. Sorry we couldn't have won a little bit more for those 2 charities, but regardless, there will be a check for that amount going in the post to both of them at the end of the season. And fingers crossed we can get one more winner each between me and James this week. James, have you got anything else to add before we say goodbye for another week? We'll have the opposition view from Johnny Morris from Typical City. Me and James will do our end of season review podcast. We've got one other exciting thing in the offing for within a week or 2 of the season coming to a close, with 3 confirmed special guests. Not going to reveal who they are just yet, but I think it will make for a very exciting podcast and YouTube channel. So I would say probably you've got 3 more We Are West Ham podcasts until me and James have our customary summer break, so we can remember what it's like not to just talk to each other at least once a week. Give ourselves a bit of a break over the summer. As you know, that the transfer window, not really a fan of that. I could do without keeping sort of up to date with every cough, lick and split. The Euros this summer as well means that we're both going to be very busy with work. So yeah, like having the summer off. So you got 3 more podcasts, I say, until that summer break. Jonesy, any final thoughts to leave us with before we sign off?
No, not really, other than for the first time in a long time, I'm looking forward to seeing us lose at the weekend. And most of all, I'm looking forward to this summer, not just the Euros, but new manager coming in, see what he's going to do in the transfer window. It's all pretty exciting. What's around the corner? No one knows. So yeah, it's we're going into a new era, which seems a little bit weird after four fantastic years under David Moyes. 1 more game to go, and then it's all changing, all new. So I'm quite excited to see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Listen, I am still a little bit bummed out about the old David Moyes thing. I'm hoping that one day soon I'll get to meet him in person and tell him how I feel, and that will make me feel a little bit better about the lackluster round of applause after the game on Sunday. But great way to sign off for the home games for the season. Me and James are both locked in again next year. You'll see our heads popping up at the London Stadium as ever, just for another year of punishment, I guess you could call it. But who knows what it'll be. Look, thanks for listening, everyone. A really nice way to sign off for the season for the fans with a 3-1 win against Luton on the weekend. You sort of feel like we're certainly basically checked out for the season. Not really too worried if Manchester City beat us. Perhaps it's a nice, like, respectable 2-0, Jonesy, so it's not an absolute hammering. But yeah, then send the players off on a well-deserved break. Some of them we won't ever see again at West Ham. You did sort of get that sense from Ogbonna in particular. You feel like he's probably played his last game. Maybe Cresswell as well. Both been absolutely brilliant servants to the club, but we'll save all that stuff until we know for sure as part of the end of season wrap up. But one last push for West Ham, one last push for We Are West Ham. Thanks for listening, everyone. To all of you who have supported us throughout the season, whether it's comments on social media platforms, messages, buying us a pint at buymeacoffee.com/We Are West Ham. Don't forget, you can still do that if you fancy doing that. Again, it's a bit of an end of season thank you, as a few of you have done. We would appreciate that. Follow us on all the social media platforms at We Are West Ham Pod on Instagram, at @WeAre_West Ham on Twitter. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks again, everyone. 3-1 win. Lovely, jubbly 2023-24 season. Nearly over and out. Just one more game. Up the Hammers. West Ham are massive. And we'll speak to you later this week.